I read everything about Law and Blackbeard for the past 24 hours, but I eventually came to this concrete conclusion. There is a 99.99999% chance that Blackbeard is going to kill Law. The one and only Trafalgar D. Waterlaw is going to meet his end, the man who orchestrated pretty much the entire post-time skip of One Piece. But there's countless reasons that the community has largely looked over. Did you know that the real-life Blackbeard's flag looks like this? What does this make you think of? Or what about Law's devil fruit, the Ope Ope no Mi? The ultimate power of it is to grant immortality to another person, a perpetual youth surgery. This is such a big deal to both Law and the story of One Piece because it's Chekhov's gun, meaning that this plot point will indeed be resolved, but not in the way that you think. For today's video, I have a special guest with me, Marshall D. Preach. This is the lit YouTuber that not only created Luffy as the One Piece, but also predicted that Blackbeard would fight Law months before it happened. Prepare to get your mind blown today because
Blackbeard will kill Law. I've never seen a character with as many death flags in One Piece as Law. His name is the Surgeon of Death. His devil fruit has a secret sacrificial use which grants immortality, and he literally has death written all over him as he has it tatted on the back of his hand. But the real question is, how does Law die? Well, in a video 6 months ago when we were still in Wano, we successfully predicted that Blackbeard would fight Law, but this goes even further as we theorized that he will be the one to kill him. Blackbeard is one of my favorite characters in the series, and I believe that he'll go down as the greatest villain in One Piece when it's all said and done. And what would make us fans hate Blackbeard more than killing a fan favorite character that we all sympathize for? One of Oda's best written characters, a character with one of the coolest devil fruits. Law just saying "Room" is the coolest ever. Of course it would be crushing and sad, and I'm sure some of you don't even want to consider a future where this happens. But this would truly begin Blackbeard's post-time skip journey becoming the GOAT villain in the series. As you can tell, my entire channel was based around a pun on the madman known as Teach. I love him for all the wrong reasons. He's heartless, he's truly evil, and we know he has what it takes to kill someone, especially when it means he's getting what he wants. And oh man, does Law have something the devil fruit enthusiast wants. Because Blackbeard, he's a true anarchist. He wants a pirate paradise. And while Blackbeard and Luffy both represent freedom, I believe that Luffy is the symbol of liberation while Blackbeard is the symbol of anarchy and chaos. But what's the point of becoming the ruler of this chaotic paradise if you can't enjoy it? Blackbeard has hinted at him conquering and controlling the entire world, posing Luffy's idea of freedom. Blackbeard's philosophy is that once you die, nothing else matters. He truly fears death. He stays in the shadows of Whitebeard waiting for the perfect opportunity to arise, even though he is powerful. But by far, the biggest proof of Blackbeard's terrifying fear of death is that have you ever noticed how crazy, how different his personality can change to and how different he behaves? For someone so calculated, I've never seen someone who acts so desperately out of fear. We can see Blackbeard's personality completely switch as his fear peaks out every time his life is truly in danger. And with Luffy being someone who does not fear death, he was ready to accept it all the way back in Logtown. Blackbeard being the greatest foil to Luffy, it all makes sense that Blackbeard would fear death the most. And this is why Blackbeard's goal is to become immortal, so that once he does conquer the world, he can live forever, actually enjoying the chaos and freedom of this pirate paradise for eternity. And so now you can understand why Blackbeard wants to use Law's devil fruit for his own ambitions. I can even see a scenario where the Blackbeard pirates defeat the Heart Pirates outright and Blackbeard just takes the fruit. I truly believe that Blackbeard is one of the strongest characters in One Piece already, as Oda hasn't even showcased the full potential of the Yami Yami no Mi, and he was already facing off against Law. But another way to look at this is that Law could also sacrifice himself performing the immortality operation surgery on Blackbeard so that he spares his crew. We even saw a similar scenario in Wano where Law was willing to do whatever it took, exchanging himself to Hawkins for his crew's safety. So there's already a precedent set for something like this. Now here's the craziest, most mind-blowing piece of evidence pointing in the direction of Blackbeard killing Law. Blackbeard is inspired by the real world's Blackbeard, one of the most famous pirates of all time. But have you ever seen Blackbeard's famous Jolly Roger? The real Blackbeard's Jolly Roger looks like a devil stabbing through a red heart. You may see this as Blackbeard just being one of the most heartless pirates, but bringing it back to One Piece, another huge theme aside from death that surrounds Law is the heart. The heart is symbolic for Law because his devil fruit, the Ope Ope no Mi, is a red-shaped heart. Don Quixote Rocinante, also known as Corazon, translates to heart, and this means that Law inherited the will of Corazon as represented through his pirate crew, the the heart pirates, the giant heart tattoo on his chest, and his coat which has the word Curzon on it. So now when you look at Blackbeard's Jolly Roger again, what do you see? That's right, something much more sinister. Now we see Blackbeard killing Law, as there is no character who is symbolized by a heart more than our favorite tatted surgeon. And with Oda's hints at possible death saying I hope no one dies, there is no character we should be more worried about than Trafalgar D. Water Law. Make sure to subscribe to 3 if you have not already. Thank you for having me on.
You heard that, man. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to never miss the best One Piece theory videos on YouTube. But moving back onto the topic of Blackbeard, it's very clear that Oda likes to gas up his villains. For an example, when we first heard about Kaido and really got to know him, he jumped off of a sky island failing to delete himself. This is Oda gassing up a villain, trying to make them seem like an impossible obstacle in front of Luffy. Or what about NL? He was basically neg-diffing everyone in his way so he could seem impossible to beat. This is a shonen manga, so the villains are always going to seem super strong. So with Blackbeard being a future antagonist to Luffy, I can't see him losing or being equal to Law. The proper way to gas up Blackbeard is for him to not only defeat Garp, but Law as well. And just like Marshall D. Preach says, Blackbeard's real life flag does play a role in Blackbeard's character. If you look at Blackbeard's flag, those skulls are in relation to no quarter given. This was basically slang that the real life Blackbeard used to let people know he was down to kill everybody. Those skulls mean he's not going to take any prisoners, any hostages, he's going to straight up murder people. That's why you have characters like Absalom who end up getting killed for their devil fruit. So as you can see, the real life Blackbeard inspires the One Piece Blackbeard down to the nitty gritty. If One Piece's Blackbeard had the devil fruit encyclopedia and he knows about the perpetual youth surgery, of course he's going to have Law killed. And I don't think there's much that Law can do because he doesn't scale as high as Blackbeard. Let's be honest, Law and Kid had an unconvincing win against Big Mom. All they really did was throw them off where they were fighting as she landed in the volcano and it erupted, but again, it was very unconvincing. I highly doubt Law would have defeated Big Mom if it wasn't for the help of Kid. Now, keeping that in mind, everything that Law and Kid did throughout that fight seemed Admiral level. But then when you look at Blackbeard, who's supposed to be one of the final antagonists for Luffy, who finished off and killed Whitebeard, who has 2 devil fruits, who beat Marco, who pulled up on Dragon, all these feats over and over again, it's very clear that Blackbeard is Yonko level. So I'm sorry, Admiral level Law cannot beat Yonko level Blackbeard. And I would even argue that Garp is over Law. Yes, Garp is not in his prime anymore. Yes, he's an old man, but he's not dealing with sicknesses like Whitebeard. Let alone in his prime, he went toe to toe with Roger all the time. So despite Garp's prime being a long time ago, I'm willing to bet that his current fighting level is higher than Law's. So if Garp is going to lose against Blackbeard and Garp is stronger than Law, then surely Law should lose against Blackbeard too. One thing One Piece fans can mostly agree on is that Law's perpetual youth surgery is Chekhov's gun. What this means is it's a plot device that the author put into the story so it could be made of use. Most people would say that Luffy would never ever become immortal and he would never be perpetually young. And those same people will say that the perpetual youth surgery being done on Beppo would be a total waste. So I'm asking you, if Law doesn't use a perpetual youth surgery on Luffy or Beppo, who does he use it on then? I always came from the standpoint that Law's perpetual youth surgery is gonna be a threat because other villains, other antagonists are gonna get a hold of it. So Law being defeated by Blackbeard and Blackbeard threatening to use that surgery on himself, of course that's gonna fulfill the Chekhov's gun. Because Blackbeard forcing Law to use the surgery on him does complete the mission, it does complete the plot device. And as far as Law not learning about the Will of D, not accomplishing his goals, that's what tragedy is. And you could argue that Law needs to go to Laugh Tale, learn about the One Piece, find the Will of D. You could argue all those kinds of things, but it's in Oda's writing and just writing in general to kill off a character before they complete their goal. That is the whole point of tragedy. I'm pretty sure Oda's aware of how much fans love Law. He's a well-designed character, he has a cool devil fruit, great backstory. That's why fans cling on to Law. But for him to die against someone like Blackbeard to not only gas up Blackbeard and be a future antagonist to Luffy, this is gonna complete Law. Like in the words of Kaido, death is what completes a person. Look at Law's hands. This guy is the epitome, this guy is the symbolism of death. If he's gonna die in One Piece, it has to be in the most insane berserk fashion. As far as what I can remember, we haven't had any major deaths in a post-time skip of One Piece. Obviously the pre-time skip had Ace's death, very emotional, that was like a brother to Luffy. But Law dying now would almost be like a parallel to Ace, where Luffy just lost a man who felt like a brother to him. Oda needs to beat the I don't kill people allegations. Everyone swears that Oda doesn't kill off characters, and you know, look at Kinemon, he's probably a really great example, but this is the time where Oda puts his foot down and ends up killing killing Law. Oda doesn't kill people for no reason. All of the deaths in One Piece are gonna matter. And Oda is hinting this. Oda is hinting that Blackbeard is going to have Law killed, because during their fight, Blackbeard mentions he knows some of Law's powers. I guarantee you this very smart man who's a Yonko, who's connected to the underworld, has to have heard about the perpetual youth surgery. So the reason that Oda had Law go into the direction of Blackbeard is to have Law killed. And as far as how that's gonna happen, I think it's pretty simple. If Blackbeard defeats Law and Law's unconscious or whatever, I could see Lafitte hypnotizing Law to use the surgery on Blackbeard. But it's also a callback to Marineford War when Lafitte hypnotized Marines to open the gates of justice. Blackbeard killing Law will not only be a huge tragedy to One Piece fans, but it'll also set him up as a huge final antagonist. Click the video on screen to see why Imu is the moon god and why the One Piece is definitely the Aztec calendar.